Used luxury looks tempting until the first repair wipes out the deal. That is the reality most buyers learn too late. But a few premium cars were built back when engineering still came first, with engines so overbuilt they can outlast the fear, the hype, and a whole lot of shop visits. Start with the German sedan people almost talk themselves out of buying, because it does not look dramatic enough for a list like this. That is exactly why it works. The E39 530i proves overbuilt does not have to mean giant displacement or some exotic high-strung setup. Here, it means a naturally aspirated 3.0-liter M54 inline-six, making about 225 horsepower and 214 pound-feet, sent through a 5-speed manual or 5-speed automatic in a chassis that still feels expensive in the ways that matter. Nothing flashy, nothing desperate, just a premium sports sedan built around a powertrain that stayed respected because BMW had not yet buried simple engineering under layers of complication. Ownership reality is where this car earns its place. You buy one because you want a real driver's car with a luxury badge, not a rolling science project. Fuel economy is still respectable for what it is, at about 17 city and 25 highway with the automatic, and owner sentiment has held up unusually well, with Kelley Blue Book showing the 2003 5 Series at 4.6 out of 5 overall and the same 4.6 for reliability. Even the market tells the story. Guidebook money for an ordinary used example still sits around the low $3,000 range, while enthusiast market benchmarks are much stronger, around $12,000, which means clean cars are no longer treated like disposable old BMWs. Pros: silky power delivery, real steering feel, and an engine that rewards proper care. Cons: age, neglected maintenance, and sellers who call deferred repairs small stuff. Here is the buyer mistake to avoid: hearing that the M54 is durable and translating that into maintenance-free. No chance. A neglected cooling system can turn a good car into an overheating disaster, and common leak points around the oil filter, housing, vanos line, and valve cover can quietly rewrite your budget. On a test drive, let it idle from cold, watch for lazy, low-end response, roughness, or odd surging. Then check for coolant crust around the expansion tank area and oil mess at the front of the engine. Service records matter more than glossy paint on this one. Best fit? Somebody who wants one premium German car that still feels analog, balanced, and worth preserving. And honestly, if you are serious about owning older luxury metal, grab a proper toolkit and a portable compressor, because prepared owners enjoy cars like this a lot more than hopeful owners do. Sensible choice, right? Maybe, but the next one swings in with a very different kind of confidence. Some cars do not need to look special to be special. The E430 is one of them. Park it next to something louder, sportier, or wearing an AMG badge, and most buyers will walk past it without realizing this is one of the smartest German V8 buys left in the used market. What makes it belong here is not image. It is the combination underneath. A 4.3-liter M113 V8 with about 275 horsepower, backed by the 722.6 5-speed automatic, one of the most trusted old Mercedes drivetrain pairings for long-term durability. That changes the whole ownership story. This is not a car you buy to impress strangers. You buy it because you want old school, luxury, easy torque, and the kind of mechanical smoothness Mercedes used to do better than almost anyone. Around town, it feels relaxed, and on the highway, it still has that heavy, expensive calm people miss in newer cars. Real-world fuel economy usually lands around 16 miles per gallon in the city and 23 on the highway, which is fair for an old rear-wheel drive V8 sedan. Pros are obvious: strong drivetrain, excellent cruising comfort, timeless cabin feel, and real premium presence without trying too hard. Now the warning, because this is where bad purchases happen. The engine is solid, but the W210 body can betray you if you shop with your eyes only. Rust is the big issue. Check wheel arches, lower doors, trunk edges, jack points, and any bubbling around seams. A clean body matters as much as the V8 itself. On the mechanical side, look for oil leaks, rough shifting, lazy gear engagement, and signs the car sat too long without proper service. A mechanic would tell you this fast: a healthy E430 feels effortless, not sloppy. In today's North American market, rough drivers can still show up around $3,000, while cleaner, well-kept cars can move closer to $10,000. Best buyer? Somebody who wants a discreet V8 luxury sedan with a real mechanical backbone. Quiet, solid, and dangerously easy to underestimate. But the next car does not hide its engineering confidence at all. Quick favor, my friend. If this is helping you shop smarter, tap like and subscribe. And drop your city in the comments so we can keep these price breakdowns real for your market. Here's where most buyers get fooled by the badge. They assume old Porsche means beautiful, disaster, big performance, bigger invoices, and one hidden engine problem waiting to empty the account. That is true for some 996 cars, but not this one. The turbo earns its place because it dodges the standard Carrera reputation trap and uses the Mezger-based, dry-sumped 3.6-liter twin-turbo flat-six instead, with all-wheel drive, a 6-speed manual as standard, and roughly 415 horsepower in early form. Porsche itself notes 420 metric horsepower, and Road & Track points out that buyers trying to avoid the usual IMS fear in a 996 should shop the Turbo, GT2, or GT3. What makes this car different is that the engineering is real, not just the logo. Specialist guides describe the Mezger as bulletproof, and that is why the full production run works here, including later X50 and Turbo S cars. Even owner sentiment stays unusually strong, with Kelley Blue Book showing the 2005 911 at 4.9 out of 5 for reliability. Real-world fuel economy is not gentle, usually around 14 city and 20 highway, but nobody buys one of these to save fuel. They buy it because it delivers supercar pace with a mechanical foundation far stronger than the average exotic from the same era. In today's North American market, standard turbos average around the low $60,000 range, while manual cars climb higher and Turbo S money can jump well beyond that. Still, reliable Porsche does not mean cheap Porsche. That is the mistake. Front radiators and condensers collect debris and corrode, oil leaks and turbo oil line seepage deserve a careful look, and any bargain example that sat too long can demand brutal recommissioning money. A mechanic-style rule helps here. The cheaper car is often the expensive one, especially if service history is thin or the car has questionable tuning. Best buyer? Someone who wants one genuinely exotic machine with engineering credibility behind it, not just prestige in the driveway. You thought the German choices were already serious. The next one goes quiet again, and somehow gets even smarter. Not every overbuilt luxury car announces itself with noise, speed, or a dramatic badge. Some just start every morning, age with dignity, and make their owner look smarter every year. That is the Lexus GS300. It matters here because it gives you a real premium Japanese sedan wrapped around the naturally aspirated 3.0-liter 2JZ GE inline-six, the same engine family enthusiasts never stop praising, but without falling into the tired Supra conversation. Motor Trend notes, the GS helped establish Lexus in the United States with a plush interior and incredible reliability, and it confirms the second-generation GS300 kept the 2JZ through this whole era before the completely different 2006 redesign. Power sits at about 225 horsepower, routed through a 5-speed automatic, and that is enough because this car was never about making a scene. What it does better is ownership. This is the quiet executive sedan for somebody who wants refinement without drama, comfort without apology, and an engine with a reputation strong enough to calm used car paranoia. Real-world economy lands around 16 miles per gallon city and 23 highway, which is fair for an old rear-drive luxury 6. Kelley Blue Book owner feedback stays excellent too, with the 2004 GS showing 4.8 out of 5 reliability and 98% recommendation. Pros are easy. Smooth engine, vault-like build quality, timeless cabin, and the kind of long-term dependability German rivals often struggle to match once age set in. Still, smart buyers do not confuse durable with flawless. Age can bring oil leaks, tired suspension pieces, and annoying electrical gremlins. And car complaints does show some high-mile head gasket reports on the 2004 model year. In today's market, ordinary drivers still sit around the mid-$3,000 range, while cleaner examples and lower-mile cars can climb far higher. Best buyer? Someone who wants an understated luxury sedan with one of the most respected straight sixes ever fitted to a premium car. Quiet choice? Yes. Boring choice? Not even close. The last car on this list takes that same durability idea and turns it into something even more serious. This is the one that makes the title feel real, not because it is rare, fast, or flashy, but because it was engineered with the kind of excess that barely exists anymore. Driving Line calls the 1Use FE legendary for smoothness, refinement, and reliability, and that fits perfectly here, because the late-run LS400 is basically what happens when a luxury brand decides its reputation will live or die by one car and one engine. Under the hood, you get a 4.0-liter V8 making about 290 horsepower and 300 pound-feet, paired with a 5-speed automatic, and the whole thing feels less like an old, used sedan and more like a machine that was designed to embarrass more expensive rivals for decades. That is why this car should be framed as the purest, buy it once and just keep changing the fluids choice on the list. Another driving line piece goes deeper on why the 1UZ earned that reputation, pointing to its over-square design, 6-bolt mains, steel rods, and steel crank, and notes that examples with 300,000 to 500,000 miles are not unusual. In real use, fuel economy lands around 16 city and 23 highway, which is completely acceptable for a full-size luxury V8 from this era. Pros are obvious: bank vault build quality, absurd drivetrain smoothness, quiet confidence, and durability that still feels almost unfair. Still, smart buyers know the engine is the headline, not a promise that every single part on the car will outlive civilization. Steering wear is the most commonly reported issue on the 2000 LS400 at Car Complaints, and old car stuff like suspension fatigue, leaks, and tired electronics still matters. Inspection advice is simple: listen for front-end looseness, check steering feel at low speed, look for fluid leaks, and buy service history before you buy shiny paint. Kelley Blue Book owner feedback is almost ridiculous here, with 4.9 out of 5 reliability and 100% of owners recommending the car. Market reality makes it even better. KBB puts a typical good condition resale value around $4,000, while the broader enthusiast market for cleaner XF20 cars sits much higher, with Classic.com showing a market benchmark above $12,000. Best buyer? Someone who wants one premium car that does not need explaining every month at a repair shop. Quiet, heavy, smooth, and massively over-engineered, this is the car on this list that most deserves to be called built for keeps. That is the difference between expensive-looking luxury and real engineering. These 5 were built in that narrow window when premium brands still cared about durability as much as prestige, and that is why they still matter now. If you want a used luxury car that feels worth owning instead of constantly managing, these are the ones that still make a real case for themselves.